The Hinowa platform light lift 1965 is an overhead track platform. Its weight is 1.7 tons and its maximum height can reach 19 meters when the weight on the basket does not exceed 120 kilograms. When the weight on the basket is more and up to a maximum of 200 kilograms, the maximum height that can be reached is 17 meters. You can control the movement of the stabilizers and the toes by means of two lateral joysticks, while the movement of the overhead part of the platform, the arms and rotation is done by the central joystick. There are 4 indicator lights on the remote control. The machine-powered light comes on when the electric system of the platform is working. The machine-stabilized light comes on when the platform is properly stabilized and indicates that the operator can move the overhead part of the machine. The Allow Traveling Movement light comes on when the overhead part of the machine has been completely closed and when the platform is aligned. It indicates that the operator can move the stabilizers and the toes of the machine. The load cell light comes on each time the weight on the basket exceeds the allowed limit. To operate the platform, put the key on the machine body onto the position on. The Hinowa platform LL 1965 has 2 control workstations, one on the withdrawal arm and the other on the turret. First of all, you need to determine from which workstation you want to control the machine. You only need to connect the remote control into one of the 2 plugs, powering the selected plug through the selector switch located on the control panel on the machine carrier. If the selector switch is not properly placed, the remote is powered but the machine will not work. If the remote is connected to the plug on the withdrawal arm but it is not placed on its holder on the basket, you can only control the carriage part and not the overhead part. The main control workstation is on the withdrawal arm. It allows 2 operating positions, one on the basket and one on the ground. If the operator is on the basket, all the machine movements can be done: travel, carriage widening, stabilization, and extension of the overhead part. If the operator is on the ground, only the traveling operations are allowed. Please remember to always stay at a 1 meter safety distance from the machine, making sure that the range of the machine can only be clearly seen by the operator. When the remote is connected to the turret plug, you control all the movements of the platform: travel, carriage widening, stabilization and extension of the overhead part, but strictly with no operator in the basket and keeping at least 1 meter away from the machine for safety reasons. This ground workstation is typically used for controlling the movement of the overhead part during fairs and demonstrations. The light lift can work either with a thermic engine or an electric motor. It can be chosen by activating the engine selector on the remote control. Both engines start by pushing the green start push button. Before starting the electric engine, make sure that the power cable is properly inserted into the plug and that the switches on the electric protection panel are on, and that the key on the thermic engine is also on. Once the machine has started, and before carrying out any further operation, it is necessary to set through the weight selector 120 or 200 kilograms as the maximum working weight of the machine. In order to move the overhead part, you have to press and hold in position the push button of the desired movement and control its speed and direction by means of the central joystick. When selecting 120 kilograms, you can move all the arms of the overhead part of the machine. The first or second arm, the third stroke fourth arm, the withdraw arm, the rotation of the overhead part, the G, and the rotation of the basket. When selecting 200 kilograms, the G-bar cannot be operated. The choice of the maximum working weight must be carried out when the machine is closed. In particular, when you select 200 kilograms, you need to make sure that the G is completely closed and that the control micro switch is released. The traveling movement is only allowed when the overhead part of the platform is closed and aligned. This condition is registered by two photoelectric cells that must be aligned with their respective reflectors situated on the back of the G-bar. Once this condition is verified, the allowed traveling movement light on the remote control comes on. The movement of the two toes is operated through two side joysticks on the remote, but only when the switch toe or stabilizers have been put on toes. In this condition, you can control the opening and closing of the tracked carriage. To do so, press and hold into position the widening carriage lever and activate the joystick on the right to carry out the movement. You should always do the traveling movement when the carriage is widened.